Hey everybody, this is Josh and Tech at MAGFest 13 with Kyle, one of the developers of Vagante, and this is a roguelike based off of some of the more classic roguelikes. He compares it to Spelunky, but with a lot more challenge and it's a lot darker. You want to just kind of give a spiel for the game, like give it a basic...
Yeah, like you were saying, a lot of our inspiration comes from Spelunky. We might as well just call it, like a Spelunky-like. But we have extended the genre, where we've added an entire layer of RPG elements and classic roguelike elements on top of it. We're trying to add a richer gameplay experience, rather than just trying to blaze through levels as fast as possible. Using your whip, using bombs, rope every once in a while. We really want a more strategic approach to the game, where the player has a situation in front of them and they have to think real time rather than the roguelike sense of things in frozen space. What can I do in this situation? What are my outs? What are my options? Do I have potions? Can I use a spell here? Should I attack this enemy? Should I just walk by this enemy? Like things like that. That makes the game a little bit more interesting, and it allows us to really pump up the difficulty in certain areas that most games just don't really care about. So. Yeah, it's great.
So, is it like a board by board? Is it a level by level, or is it just like all pushed in front of you until you beat whatever you have to beat at the end? Right.
So, in familiar fashion, it has the game is separated into acts. So, the Act 1, the player starts in level 1 is going to be a dark cave area. It's set in like a fantasy, magic type of world. So, level 1, you go into a dark cave and you go through a couple levels, trying to get out of the dark cave, presumably maybe like the other side of a mountain or something, and then you go into a forest. You can also, alternatively, there's like a branching path. You can go to like a temple area or like ruins, and then you go into a catacombs area where there's like undead things trying to kill you at every turn. So we're trying to get like a varied, like a lot of different dangerous elements into the game. And that also allows for a lot of creativity from our artists. KO, he's really good at just like fleshing out what the sprites and everything look like of all the monsters and stuff, all the spells and how everything looks and feels in the game. He does a really good job of that. So yeah, I give him mad props for that.
And
definitely.
You mentioned that
so good.
Yeah, it does. You mentioned that there's some power-ups. There's some permanent and temporary power-ups.
Yeah, that's right. So one of the big separating features from, like the Spelunky-like genre is instead of just getting equipment pieces that just, permanently level up your character, you have actual equipment that you choose to equip or unequip based on the situation. So there are things in this game like stat points, resistances, and various other bonuses, to the player's movement and so on and so forth that you can choose. So, for instance, there's like boots that make you go really, really fast, or boots that make you jump really, really high. There's also a piece of armor that you can get that protects you from spikes, or like you can find pieces of armor that give you, like really high poison resistance. So if you go into the forest, you're not going to get eaten by a plant and like dissolved into goo. So.
Okay, so do you have anything that you want to, anyone out there to know about the game that we haven't covered yet?
So one of the most important things that people don't always seem to recognize is that the game's in early access. It's not a complete game, so it's very important to realize that it's a very iterative process, and we have it such that we're doing bi-weekly updates on Steam Early Access. So we're actively, looking at people's comments and stuff that they leave in forums and emails, and we're changing the game to what the people are telling us. This is better this way, or this is what the final product should be more like. So we're very active in the community, and so it's very important to realize, once again, because it's early access, not all of the features of the final game are there. So one of the biggest questions that we receive is there online multiplayer? Is there online multiplayer? Well, no, not right now, but it's currently in process and will be in the final game when it's released. Right now, you can do local co-op for up to 4 players. And
I like that.
Yeah, that's great. A lot of people have been telling us, this is what I want in a game. I want a 4-player co-op game. I can just, try with a couple of friends.
Yeah, And community, that's also what we really stand for, bringing people together, reaching out to your audience, because that's really, keeping grounded, but also reaching out and making the game that people really want. Anyway, so this has been Vagante, an awesome roguelike. Definitely check it out. This has been Tech and Josh at MAGFest 13.